carried out this experiment with Leeds Utd, the fallen giants in the Championship. What we did was, after the game had played a season, and put them in the 21st place, just escaping relegation to League One in 16-17. We edited the finance details to see what would happen if Leeds United did have the big bucks to spend. What we did, we gave them £500 million in the bank. Should really be able to get out of the division with that sort of money. But also along with that, we adjusted the transfer budget to £200 million, and we also gave them a reasonable wage budget of £1 million, which should be quite substantial for a Championship club. From there, we also gave them a sugar daddy so that they would never run out of money. As we'll see later on, they did get a very good sponsorship, front-end sponsorship, which gave them further top up to that bank balance. But let's go on with the game, and we'll see how it went on over the 3-year experiment. Okay, so the first season, Thomas Christensen was the manager, and he was, although making some signings, which we'll see in a minute, got Leeds United to 10th place. Although he did do that, he continued for the next season, and the finish was 11th place. Looking to the managers, as I said, Thomas Christensen was the manager on the 1st of July 2016, and he kept his position until just after Christmas 2019, being in charge for 3 years and 180 days. So long gone from the previous regime of Mr. Cellino. He did last 3 years, just over 3 years, nearly 3.5 years. And then we had his assistant, Carlos Corberan, who took charge for the short period of time from the 28th of December to the 10th of January, 13 days. He was put in caretaker charge, and Roberto Di Matteo, the current manager, got the job 10th of January 2020. Current date we're looking at is 17th of June 2020, so he's been in charge for 159 days. These are the transfers that were made when the money came in. So June 2017, and very surprisingly, we've got a mixture of loans and free transfers. Obviously, the game doesn't recognise the injection of cash straight away, so it does work on the basis that the club doesn't have a lot of money, and its reputation is such that even if it spent the money, it wouldn't be able to attract the players. So we got Lewis Cook, former player, coming in loan from Bournemouth for the season, and then we picked up the veteran Carl Henry on a free transfer. Also on a free transfer coming in before the season was Carlos De Pena, and money paid out then, 2.8 million rising to 3.6 million for Bristol City's Aidan Flint, who was rumoured to be a real-life target of Leeds United. Just before the season started, we brought in Patrick Bamford on a free transfer, but that doesn't tell the full story. If we just look at Patrick Bamford, we'll see, look at the wages, £130,000 a week, and he was given a 5-year contract, valued at 5.75 million, but a really outrageous wage there for a free transfer. Okay, again, before the season came in, we paid 1.3 million for Pablo Mari, who is currently at the club, and a more realistic wage of 29,000 a week, a lot more than the current team was paying without any money. We seem to be going for young players, 875,000. Jack Stevens was brought in from Southampton, young player, young centre back anyway. We brought in another journeyman from abroad, Elderson, what pronounce his surname, and then some more free transfers came in just as the season started. Derara and Nekatia. Then we spent 600,000 on Ariel Borisic from QPR, and these were on the January transfer window. Harry Lewis from Southampton as a backup keeper, 950,000 rising to 2.3 million. So in total this season we spent 6.5 million, but we also brought in 1.7 million. Released some younger players, Bryce Hosanna, Robbie Gotts, Bobby Camwa, and Moise Chroma, all were released on free transfers, along with Maja Gomez, who was brought in on a free transfer from Liverpool. Okay, just before the season started, Alex Mowat went to Barnsley for 750,000, mirroring real life there. J. Roy Grott was sent out on loan to Oldham, and just before the end of the window, Mateusz Klich, who didn't make the team very often in real life, was sold to PSV for 975,000. And then in the transfer window, Caleb Ekipan was loaned out to Blackpool. Let's look at the second season then, see if anything changes much. 2018-19, bear in mind we had a 10th place finish. We did splash a little bit of money out. Connor Wickham was brought in from Crystal Palace for 1.1 million. Richie Smallwood, the current vice captain, we paid £1 million, rising to 1.3 million from Villa. 25th of June, we brought in Carl MacDonald from Fleetwood, a centre midfielder, 18-year-old young player for 300,000. We also bought another young player who'd done very well in real life for our neighbours down the road, Huddersfield. Izzy Brown came in from Chelsea, 1.1 million, rising to 1.5 million. We then got Darnell Fisher, a right wing-back defender from Preston for 1.4 million. And just before just before the window ended, we got in Jesus Yames, a free transfer. Okay, and then in the January window, we picked up Morgan Fox from Charlton, left back, I believe. Yes, left back, coming in from Charlton for 1.6 million, rising to 2.1. Ryan Fredericks from Fulham for 450,000, a right wing back. So obviously a change of system occurred at that point, probably a couple of wing backs coming in January. We got in Tyus Browning from Wigan, and a double signing from Wigan. We got Leeds Utd, paying 4.3 million to Wigan for those two players. And completing the transfer in the January window, right on the deadline last day, we brought in Christopher Oikonomidis on a free transfer. Came in from Lazio, Australian international, 50 caps, 12 goals, a winger. So we'll see what happened to that. Quite mixed business there in the January window, with 4 signings coming in the later stages and 3 on the last day, including that double signing from Wigan for 4.3 million. So overall the season we spent 11.25 million, but that was not a deficit on the transfer budget. We actually brought in £19 million. Again, we had the youngsters going out on free transfers. Fortis Kezos went on free transfer. Matty Downing, junior left back, goalkeeper. I should know my players. Matty Downing went to Eastleigh on loan. Carl Henry, we brought in a free transfer season before, retired. Connor Shaughnessy went on a free transfer, surprisingly, seeing he's doing really well, but didn't so in the game. Luke Murphy, Tyler Denton, Louis Coyle, Ian Stokes cut loose, surprisingly. Tyler Denton and Louis Coyle, youngsters who are doing reasonably well in real life, were given free transfers. Also going with the twins, McKay, Jack and Paul, Jake Croft, Tom Godden, Max Hill, Hugo and Osama, all given free transfers from the under-23. Right at the beginning of the season, Ronaldo Vieira went out on loan to Charlton. 9th of July, J. Roy Grott again out on loan, this time to Portsmouth. And then the surprising transfer, Alioski, one of the main players in real life, was sold to Hull for 2.2 million on the 11th of July, just at the beginning of the season. And the previous year's transfer from Southampton went out on loan to Brentford. So overall, as I said, 19 million coming in. Itano Baradi went to Sheffield Wednesday for a surprising fee of 325,000. Kemar Roof to QPR for 375,000. Certainly some bargains going out. Antonsen sold to Cardiff for 1.4 million. And Maseda Hadara to Wolves for 5.5 million, so good business there. Did he come in on a free transfer? Yeah, came in on a free transfer the previous season and sold to Wolves for 5.5 million, so a really good business there. So 5.5 million rising to 7.75 million. So Wolves obviously saw something in the 28-year-old Senegalese international left back. And here more surprises of real life. Matty Downing, not a surprise as such, went out on loan to Eastleigh, but Pontus Jansson sold for the miserly fee of 4.6 million to Bournemouth in the January window. Samu Says, 275,000. These fees compared to real life are just ridiculous. Paweł Cibicki went out on the last day of the transfer window to Red Bull Leipzig for 3 million. Liam Cooper to Sheffield, local rival Sheffield Wednesday for 1.3 million. And at the end of the season, towards the end of the season, Andy Lonergan retired. So 90 million, just nearly an 8 million transfer income. So what were we thinking of there? And the current season, the last season, which we're going to show you the league position for after this, we spent 34 million, so the money's going up. But who did we bring in for that? Ibrahim Cisse from Fulham for 400,000. Jonathan DeBee from Tottenham for 2.2 million. Yuto Nagatomo, a free transfer. Jonas Anderson from Chelsea on loan. Dele Oshilaja from Millwall for 1.1 million. Dele Oshilaja, a central defender, 28-year-old. We seem to go for internationals, Nigerian, 9 caps for Nigeria. During the season, but still in the first transfer window, we then signed a big signing. Jesus Vallejo from Arsenal, 24-year-old, a Spanish centre-back. Made only 12 appearances for Arsenal, but Leeds splashing out 26 million, rising to 33 million, record transfer fee for the centre-back. Then we managed to sign on the 2nd of September James Roberts from Grimsby, and then in the January window 3.9 million on Thierry Ambrose from Sheffield United. Had scored 22 goals in 69 games. French under-21 international Thierry Ambrose, 3.9 million, but the major signing 26 million for Jesus Vallejo from Arsenal. So the deficit of this year, we only got in 7.5 million. Jack Stevens went to Brentford for 325. The Caleb Ekaban was actually sold for only 70,000. Jesus James retired. Tom Pearce, youngster free transfer. Bailey Peacock Farrell went on a free transfer. Henry Rose and Paddy O'Connor and Oriel Ray, all youngsters on free transfers. Connor Wickham bought the previous season. How much did we buy him for? Bought Connor Wickham for 1.1 million and sold him to QPR for 1.6, so we made a profit there. Only kept him for a season. Darnell Fisher sold for 1.6 million to Hull. Calvin Phillips went to Swindon for only 68,000. Doesn't seem to rate these youngsters again much, only 68,000. Tyus Browning, again signed from the previous season, sold to Norwich. This was bought from Wigan for 2.1 million. Sold to Norwich for 2 million, so just about the same amount of money. And the same player went out again, there must be a pair in those two. Bought him from Wigan, gone out on loan to Bordeaux for 16,500 per month. Ariel Borisic from Dynamo Kiev, 1.7 million we signed. The window must have closed on the 2nd of September, I reckon. That's why I've got signings up to that date. Then in the January window, we loaned out James Roberts, who we'd got him from Grimsby, to Cambridge. We let the previous mentioned veteran fullback, Nigerian international, Iderson, we let him go on a free transfer. And J. Roy Grott, after a couple of loans, was eventually sold for £26,000 to Bradford City. So those are all the transfers then over the 3 years, and that was the final year. Let's see where that got us to in the final season of this experiment. So not in the playoffs, finishing 12th, so the worst position of the 3 years. So we finished 10th, 11th and 12th. So in this game experiment, it's showing that Leeds actually were going lower in the league for the signings and the money, and we finished 9 points outside the playoffs. He lost his job, did Christensen, on just after Christmas. Let's have a look at the current year's fixtures. So we played West Brom away and lost 1-0. That was the final straw, but we'd had a long series of losses and only won 1-0 at home to West Ham. So the new manager came in, Di Matteo, after the transfer window, and had a mixed bag really. Started off with a win, 2-0 against Barnsley, lost a third round replay to Stoke, and then lost away 1-0 to Cardiff, beat Bolton 2-1 at home, drew 2-2 away to Fulham, beat Brentford 3-1 at home, and then we had a bit of a disastrous run of 3 defeats: away to Preston, home to Reading, away to Blackburn, for another win, home to Sunderland 2-0, drew with Wolves 2-2. So a very mixed bag, a couple of wins there, and then a run again of another 4 defeats and a draw before winning the last 2 games to shoot up to final 12th position. So as we'll see, probably not enough to keep Roberto Di Matteo in the job long term. So that's the final league position. Let's have a look at the financial state of the club at the current time. So we're going to the editor and look at the finances. We've currently got the massive amount of 709 million in the bank, with a reasonable transfer budget of £177.6 million and a wage budget of £2.25 million. And the Sugar Daddy is still in place, so we could get another sponsorship. We're getting a yearly sponsorship. Last year we got about 200 million, I think it was, so should be another sponsorship coming along for this current year to top up that £700 million bank balance. So certainly money's plentiful. So that's how the experiment went over the course of 3 seasons. Really the game not giving justice to the amount of money that was available. It seems to take on that although the finances are rich, it is the reputation of the club, 3-star national reputation of the club, determines how and where the money is spent in loans and lower Premiership players. So we're going to see if we can change that. I'm going to start a new series, once weekly and maybe twice weekly series. We're going to take over the managership of Leeds United and this massive budget and see if we can get them back in the Premiership. So join me, subscribe if you want to see Leeds on this journey. If you want to have a say in transfer targets and such, we'll see if we can sign some of these big players, because we've certainly got the money. If you've liked this video, give it a big thumbs up please, and I hope to see you again for the new series. Thank you for watching.